Welcome to Assess with Spark Littlies, now available within the Spark Littlies app. It'll be part of the full subscription to the app, but we also have the option to only subscribe to Assess with Spark Littlies. I'm just going to give you a quick tour around how to use the app. Once you've signed up, you will be able to jump in and set up your service. So as the service admin, you'll be able to jump into the service profile and the service settings. And as a service admin, you'll be able to log in to see the service profile and the service settings, where you can actually change all of these details to suit your service. You can even upload a logo that will be displayed on your PDF reports. You can set a PIN, which means only you can access this section of the app. We can set up profiles for each of the educators, so we can put in Sam and Moonies. We can set up a PIN here for that educator, which means their profile is locked and only they can access their section of the app. So you can see here we've got one that's enabled and one that's not. We can set up rooms. So we'll add the Moonies. From there, we can then go and add students. So we can add them to specific rooms. So we might go there. Now, by selecting the date of birth of the student or the child, it means that it will actually auto-populate the correct assessment. Put in here. You can put in your own internal code if you have one for each child, or any additional notes about the child or the student. Our next stage is jumping into an assessment. So we need to select an assessor, because we're obviously logged in as the admin. We'll jump in and we'll put in Sam. So Sam needs to put in the passcode. And then now that Sam is the current assessor, we can then start an assessment. So there, selects the Moonies, selects that student, and then it comes up automatically for the 3 to 5 year old assessment. Through this assessment, you can jump in and write your own evidence and notes. We've got a rating guide here as to what not observed, what emerging, consistent, and not sure yet means down the right-hand side here. So you can simply go through and select some of these as to what the student or the child is exhibiting. If you miss one, that's fine. It will still render the report for you, so you don't have to worry about that. You can add notes, optional evidence, and it goes through that full list. Now, on each one of them, you can see that there is actually 12 sections. So you can go through and complete all. This one's got 66 items that you could assess across, and then the 7 seek advice at the bottom. So you can go through and do this really thorough, or you can pick out ones that you'd like to observe at the start of the year, at the middle of the year, and at the end of the year. Once we've selected what we want to assess, we then at the bottom here have a seek advice if. And so these you might like to select if his speech is unclear, has speech fluency problems, is not able to go to the toilet or wash him herself. You can then add any additional notes at the bottom here. You don't have to add any notes in these fields. It will still, you don't have to create any, you don't have to add any text into these boxes. They can be left empty for you to go to the next stage. So the next stage is to review the assessment. So from the information that I've just put in, it has now given me what all of those parts here in a easy to see assessment. At the top here, you've got the name of your service, address, email, etc., student initials, the date of birth, who's assessing, the age band, assessment date, room, and the assessment tool. You can type in the child's full name here, which will then be added to the PDF. However, it won't be saved if you click the Save Assessment. Okay, we've used that as a bit of a privacy function so that you guys as the educators can then opt to put a full name later. We can also save the assessment to that student. So that will then be saved here and it'll direct you back to what you can see here, which will be the printable. And we can print it also from this screen here, print, and straight away you've got that document ready to go. We can go back to the history. So now you can see that that has actually been saved here under that student, and then you can access it again. Once that educator has finished, they can actually log out the assessor, and that means it gets a blank canvas, and any of the educators can then log in and do their assessing, which means if you've got shared iPads or devices, each person will have their own allocated PIN and profile so that you can then see who is doing the assessments and if there's any issues between. I've added this function to alleviate in case somebody accidentally assesses a child when they shouldn't be. So you can easily see which educator has actually logged in and completed that assessment.